So I'm walking up to the garage right now. I've got the tractor under a wall, and I'm going to get ready to stand it up. I'm going to show you some of the challenging things I've been running into with this wall. I think I've explained it okay. So because of this temporary pump house, I have electrical issues that I have to get around. And when we poured the foundation, we installed some conduits in the concrete so that I wouldn't have anything on the outside of the garage. And you can see those conduits. Oh, see there's a couple of them lined up against that board. They're right down there. There's 4 of them. And I took the router and I notched 4 holes in that bottom plate. You can see those holes. There's 1, 2, 3. There's another one down there. And because I'm out here by myself, I'm using my tractor with the pallet forks. You can see those holding that up. We're going to put this back on the tripod and try to stand it up. I had to frame this wall around these electrical cables because they come out of the ground from my wellhead, which is over there. Right there. And they go through the ground and up and into the pump house. I don't want to disconnect my wellhead because I need water, and my significant other would be kind of mad at me if I turned off the water for a day or two. So I'm going to get ready to do that over a day when she's not home. But in the meantime, I'd like to get all the walls of the garage up, so that's what we're working on. And this wall I just showed you is being kind of problematic in that I can't put sheeting on the outside of it because the pump house is on the way and some other stuff. So we're going to stand this one up, and then we'll go ahead and start framing up another wall after we get this one up and braced. So here's what that looks like. Well, as you can see, that's not going as well as I had hoped it would. I don't think I can lift this up by myself, but we're going to try. See what happens. What I think I'm going to do is actually strap this to a couple of 2x6s with some ratchet straps that I have to the pallet forks on the tips somehow, and lift the whole thing up with the tractor. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and see if I can get that set up, and then we'll turn it back on and see what happens. I don't know how well you can see that, but I can't move my tractor over that way anymore because I have the wellhead in the way. So I'm kind of over here to the left of the wall. I'm hoping this is going to work. You can see here I've got the wall braced up, and I drove 16 penny nails down that 2x6, and that attaches it to this outside wall. So I've also prepped to install the first piece of plywood, and you can see here I've got these duplex nails, and they're driven in between the bottom plate here, or the mud sill, and the concrete. And those just give me a place to rest the plywood on when I get ready to nail it in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a sheet of 4x10 plywood and nail that baby up, and that will tie the wall together. So, like I said, it's resting on those nails. It stood up. It looks like we're at a square. Quite a bit. So the wall is leaning that direction, and you can see that here. So this should be right on the middle here, and not have this huge gap. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tack the bottom corner in, this corner down here. You can see I pre-staged the sheeting nailer so I wouldn't have to wander around without holding this board up. I'm going to tack it in down there, then I'm going to use a duplex nail up here and just hold it in place. And then I'm going to go square up this wall. Yeah, so here we go. So it should be right about there. That's the center of this 2x6. That puts me right at the edge out here where I need to be. And we tack that baby in to the bottom plate. It just kind of holds the corner in. And go ahead and drive a duplex nail in just a little bit. That just lets me walk away from the board. I'm going to go grab a 2x4. I should have had pre-staged. So we're out of whack quite a bit. I just bungee to level to that wall. And we have to pull the top of the wall back. Which is interesting. I can see that it's pretty bowed. I'm contemplating using the tractor to do this, but I don't know how good of an idea that really is. Yeah, how am I going to do this? I don't have anything inside the garage to brace off of to push. I could wrap around a tree in the top plate and ratchet it over to the tree until it's level. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Because I'm by myself and I don't want to get hurt or hurt my garage, I'm going to go ahead and grab a rope or a chain or something and actually go around the top plate on the back of the wall and go over to a tree over there and use a ratchet strap to slowly pull the wall back into alignment. It'll be slow, but it'll work. Once I get that set up, you'll see what that looks like. So I got the rope up there. Most of you don't know, but I used to do tree work on the side for people. Top trees, take them down in pieces, you know. So I have a whole bunch of extra gear from when I was doing that. And I got a couple pieces of 1/2-inch power braid. You can see it's wrapped around the wall up there. It comes down. Overhand hitch there. I've got a prusik here attached to my 1/2-inch power braid with a following pulley going through a carabiner to this and down to a tree down there. This is pretty nifty because you basically pull and the following pulley slides up the rope and then it recatches. You probably can't see that very well, I'm holding the camera too close, but that's the idea. And I'm going to go ahead and pull on this thing pretty hard. Try to get it in the shot, maybe. You can hear the wall cracking and groaning. And you can see the prusik is recatching there as the wall is groaning away. Cool thing about that, you can see how tight that, whoa, whew, almost slipped there. You can see this is pretty tight. The cool thing about the prusik is if I actually push on this very gently, it will release the pressure and allow me to re-straighten up the wall. So you can see that I've actually pulled the wall way too far. You can see up there, I've pulled it back way out of alignment because I wasn't really paying attention. I was trying to film. I'll bring you down here to the level and you can clearly see the bubble is the wrong way. We'll back way up and you can probably tell that the wall is really crooked. So I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down. I'll keep it running and I'm going to go try and straighten up this wall. I'm going to go ahead and push on that little prusik like I was talking about. Let the wall come back. It's going to be quite a trick because I can't really see what's going on while I'm screwing with the prusik. Oh, there's some good slack in that. Probably too much. To be honest with you, it looks like I probably should try to push on the wall earlier. Probably would have solved all my problems. So it looks like I should be able to start putting some nails in that. Looks pretty close. If I work slowly, yeah, we're real close. If I work slowly on that corner, put a couple of nails in down low, and I line up that 2x6 with the outside of that board, we should be good because we know the bottom of the board is level because it's driven on top of the concrete, which when they pour the concrete they make sure it's flat. So the bottom's level, which means the side is level. So if I go slow, and I line the board up as I go up, as I nail, in theory, we should be good. So here we go. I've laid out this wall. This is the end piece to the longer wall. The very first wall I stood up that I was real nervous about. Because the plywood ends on the window and I can't put the piece that'll go between the two walls, I'm going to frame this wall up and I'm going to stand it up and then I'll hang the plywood on the outside like you saw a few minutes ago. I got most of this laid out. I've drilled and routed out the base plate to take into account for the lag bolts that go into the concrete. So I'm going to nail this thing together and just quickly check it for square. Not spend a lot of time on that because the other wall is square, so when I stand it up, the 2 inch should line up and we should be square. Once I get it nailed together, I'll stand it up and might hang a couple more sheets of plywood tonight to see how I feel. So this is nailing it together. This little guy right here, I don't know how well you can see this. It's a little pry bar. Pick them up any local hardware store. You've got a fork on the end and a pry on the other side. This thing comes in, it's invaluable. It's $24 or $5, something like that. Invaluable. Tell you what, for pulling out nails when you make a mistake, for pulling out the duplex nails when you go to stand up a wall, these things are invaluable. I got a couple of them. I'm really glad I have them. I'm actually ready to stand this wall up now. I'm going to go get a couple of braces ready. One for the end. And we'll go ahead and stand it up. I should be able to stand this up by myself. I'll end up pulling it back here and putting a couple of nails in the bottom. I'll get you a close-up of what I'm doing with that. This board here that I'm building the top plate on, this is actually the last board that'll go from here to this seam. It's cut to the right length, so when I stand this up, I've got it ready. I'll put it in and toenail everything together, and it'll all be tied together. So I already drove one duplex nail in down here. You can't see it. I'm going to put another one in after I kill that spider right here. And I'm driving them through the edge into the mud plate, sill plate, so they stick through the back. And I'll show you what they look like here. So they come through, right? You nail them in over here, and it comes through the plate and sticks into this mud plate, sill plate. And I have another one down here. Now, if there was plywood on this wall, I would have taken the time to square it up a lot better and do all sorts of fancy stuff to make sure it was perfectly lined up. But because you have a bottom plate here, and the top of that wall up there, when this stands up, it should line up with those, and this wall is square because we squared it up as you watched in, I think I filmed that in another video. In any case, I checked that wall, it's square. So when we line this wall up with that wall, it'll be square. So all these nails do in this case really is kind of keep that wall from sliding forward as I raise it up and sliding off this sill plate, mud plate. You'll see how that works. I'm going to go ahead and set this camera up back here. Alright. So, the wall is up. We're sitting on top of those plates, just like we wanted to. I will say this, doing this by yourself is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I have pre-staged a brace over here, which I'm going to go ahead and install right now. And one nail on the top wall, and I only did that because the wall is at a square, because I have this brace holding the wall in, which is not what I need right now. What I need right now is the wall to be square so I can drive another nail. So I just knocked the brace loose. I'm going back up here to push the wall into shape. It actually needs to pull back that away. Together. The top plate is nailed together. Now, normally I would really like to there's a double top plate, right? I put that double top plate on, except that the front garage wall overlaps the seam. So the top plate that's going to cover up this new seam is also going to cover up the far seam, which I don't have the wall built, so I can't put the top plate on. So once I get the ladder out of the way, I'm going to re-brace the wall with a different brace once I square it up. And call it good.